Today we're going to challenge a really common myth, a really persistent one, actually, one that might be holding you back from something amazing. Yeah, we're talking about learning a new language.
I'm sure you've heard this a million times, right? Maybe you've even said it yourself. It's this idea that there's some kind of magic window when you're a kid, and if you miss it, well, tough luck. Honestly, it's a belief that can make trying to learn as an adult feel kind of hopeless before you even start.
But what if that's not the whole story? Not even close. Let's dive into what the research from linguistics, psychology, and even neuroscience actually has to say about this. Because, spoiler alert, it paints a very, very different and much more optimistic picture.
So let's tackle this too late myth head on. Where does this idea even come from? Well, it's actually rooted in a real scientific concept, but it's one that's been widely misunderstood for a long, long time.
This is the big one you'll always hear about, the critical period hypothesis. It's the theory that suggests your brain is just uniquely primed for language learning before puberty, and after that, the gate starts to swing shut. And for decades, that was pretty much taken as the final word. But here's the crucial distinction, the part that everyone gets wrong. Modern research shows the critical period isn't some on-off switch for learning. What it mostly affects is our ability to get a perfect, native-sounding accent. So yeah, you might keep your accent, but, and this is a huge but, it does not stop you from achieving fluency, mastering complex grammar, or building an absolutely massive vocabulary. So, if you remember one thing, let it be this. Your brain does not lose the ability to learn a language. The way it learns simply changes. It shifts gears, moving away from that sponge-like absorption of childhood to a different but just as powerful approach. Okay, so if the learning mechanism just changes, what does it change to? Well, this brings us to the really cool part. The unique advantages of the adult brain, its hidden superpowers when it comes to language.
The scientific proof behind all of this is a fantastic concept called neuroplasticity. It's the incredible and proven ability of your brain to physically reorganize itself. It can forge brand new pathways and connections throughout your entire life. Your brain isn't set in stone. Think of it more like clay, constantly being reshaped. And learning a new language? It's one of the best ways to keep it flexible.
In fact, learning a language is like a full-on workout for your brain. It strengthens key areas like the hippocampus, which is vital for memory, and the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles planning and attention. It literally makes your brain stronger and more flexible. It's brain training at its best.
So it's not a case of children being good and adults being bad at learning. We just have totally different strengths. Kids are incredible at absorbing sounds implicitly, almost like through osmosis. But as adults, we have a whole different toolkit. We can learn explicitly. We can actually understand grammar rules, use logic, and make connections that a child's brain just isn't wired for yet.
And this brings us to the adult's secret weapon, metalinguistic awareness. It sounds like a fancy term, but it's really simple. It's your ability to think about language itself. You already know what a noun is or a verb. You can consciously compare the grammar of your own language to the one you're learning. A child doesn't have that analytical framework at all, but you do.
Okay, so what about learning more than one new language? There's this common fear that our brains will just get overloaded and confused. But guess what? The science shows the exact opposite is true.
We've all felt this anxiety, right? Will I start mixing up my Spanish with my French? Is my brain just gonna short circuit? It's a totally valid concern, but it's based on a misunderstanding of how our amazing brains handle information.
So here's what's actually going on in there. When a multilingual person is about to speak, all of their languages light up in the brain for a split second. Then, incredibly quickly, the brain selects the right one for the situation and puts the others on standby. This constant mental juggling isn't a sign of confusion. It's an intense workout that strengthens your brain's command center. And the benefits of that workout are profound. Research links being multilingual to being better at switching between tasks, having stronger overall cognitive control, and even delaying the onset of age-related cognitive issues like dementia. Your brain just gets better at managing information, period. So what this all really means is that your brain is not a hard drive with limited space. It's a dynamic, living network that actually grows stronger and more efficient the more you ask it to do. It is absolutely 100% designed to handle multiple languages. All right, so we've established that your brain is more than capable. So if biology isn't the real barrier, what is? And more importantly, how can we learn smarter by playing to our adult strengths?
So, what's the real hurdle? It's not biology, it's psychology. The real reasons we struggle are things like the fear of sounding silly, that perfectionism that stops us from even trying, and of course, the very real problem of just not having enough time. Those biological reasons, they're usually just convenient excuses we tell ourselves.
I mean, think about it. A child will babble and make hundreds of mistakes without a second thought. They just don't care. An adult, on the other hand, will often hesitate, totally afraid of judgment. The biggest hurdle isn't your age. It's having the confidence to just embrace the learning process, mistakes and all.
And this is how we learn intelligently. We can use our adult minds to our advantage. Find stuff you genuinely enjoy, like watching movies or listening to podcasts in that language. Use your analytical skills to compare grammar. And most importantly, get out there and actually use the language in real situations. Give it a purpose.
This quote really just sums it all up perfectly. You may not absorb a language the same way a toddler does, but you have something they don't: the ability to learn with intention, with strategy, and with a deep conscious understanding of how language actually works.
Because in the end, the science is clear. Your age isn't a barrier. It's actually an asset. Your brain is ready. The only real obstacle is the one you build in your own mind. The possibilities are absolutely wide open.